What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talks Rubbish, and today I'm back with another video. Following on from a video I put up recently where I talked about 10 questions I would love to ask WWE's owner, Vince McMahon, I thought today we would flip it and do the other side, talking about top 10 questions I would love to ask AEW's owner, Tony Khan. For those of you that don't know, AEW is probably what I would consider the second biggest wrestling promotion in America and around the world, possibly. Maybe not Japan because of New Japan, but that's another conversation. So yeah, I'd just be very curious, and because I just have several questions that I would love to ask Tony Khan. Number 10 is, what made you get into wrestling? For those of you that don't know, AEW was only established in 2018, and Tony Khan is basically the director, the creative vision behind it, the money man, etc. So I would be very curious to know, what made him decide to get into wrestling? Like, why? Was it just to live out a childhood fantasy? Was it because he found it profitable? Was it because he didn't like what was currently going on in wrestling? Yeah, I'd just be very curious to know, really. Number 9 was, what was the moment you knew AEW could work? We've all heard conflicting stories, whether it was All In, which was a massive independent show that was put on before AEW became a thing, whether it was Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega's match at Wrestle Kingdom that made Tony Khan decide this is a second number 2 promotion could work. So I'd just be very curious to hear it from the man himself. What was the moment that he realised, you know what, we've got something, AEW could work? Number 8 is, other than WWE guys, who is the most important signing to AEW? We all know that that AEW has picked up a lot of what I would call underutilized guys from AEW, whether it be Brody Lee, rest in peace by the way. I think this is the first video I'm speaking about him since his passing, so my thoughts go out to his family. FTR, formerly known as The Revival. Obviously, you can't call John Moxley underutilized, but not fulfilled. Miro, and obviously Chris Jericho. But every signing that they've picked up from WWE has been important to the company. So I would just be very curious to find out, what is the other most important signings from that All Elite Wrestling has made in Tony Khan's mind. Number 7, how much wrestling is too much wrestling? We all know that this is the best time to be a wrestling fan, at least in my opinion. You have so much choice. You don't have to be a WWE fan to watch wrestling anymore. So I would just be very curious to know, in Tony Khan's mind, how much content does AEW produce before it becomes too much content? Because we all know that they have Being the Elite that's associated with them. I know the Nightmare family has bits that are associated with them. I know, I'm drawing a blank here, but I know that you've got AEW Dark and just other content that is hard to keep up with. And sometimes, and this isn't meant disrespectfully, you're not rewarded, you feel out of the loop almost if you don't keep up with all that content. So I would just be very curious to know, in Tony Khan's mind, how much is too much content? Number 6, what is different about running a wrestling company than you thought it would be? Again, this is a very simple question, but what does Tony Khan feel like was completely different? What shocked him about running a wrestling company? And we may as well lump all these together. 5, what is the easier than he thought about running a wrestling company? And number 4, like, what did he feel like he would struggle with, but what did he actually find, oh, this is really easy? And then we'll lump this one in finally as well. This is slightly different. So 5 and 6 lumped together. What did he find hardest about running a wrestling company, and what was the easier about running a wrestling company than he thought it would be? Number 4 is what other industry or sport do you want to get into? We all know that the Khan family aren't just a wrestling family. They own, I think it's Fulham Football Club in England. They own the Jacksonville Jaguars in America. People are going to destroy me in the comments because I can't remember any other businesses they own. But I'd be very curious to know, what other sport does he want to get into? Would he like to have a baseball team if they don't have one? Would he like his family to have a hockey team because they don't have one? Would he want to get into boxing like the McMahons did? Would he want to get into bodybuilding like the McMahons did? Or is he just completely happy at the moment running a wrestling company? Because that's fine too. Number 3 is favourite match in AEW so far. We all know that AEW has put on some banger matches. So I would be very curious to know, what has been Tony Khan's favourite? Was it the Bucks and Kenny and Paige tag team match? Was it Dustin versus Cody at Double or Nothing in 2019? Was it other matches? Do different matches speak to him differently because of, what's it called? Because of how the story was put together. Number 2 is favourite story in AEW so far. Again, different ones could speak to him for different reasons. But did he like the Jericho MJF story so far? Did he like the Bucks and Omega and Paige story? Did he like the MJF and Cody story so far? Like, what has been his favourite to help put together? What has been the most enjoyable to see play out on TV? And to sort of piggyback off this question, what has been one story he thought, oh, this ain't gonna work, but gave wrestlers leeway and was proven wrong, and it worked? Number 1, this is a bit of a self-indulgent and selfish one. As someone from England and the UK, I would be very curious to know, will the UK ever get a pay-per-view? I know it was rumoured that Fyter Fest, which is another AEW pay-per-view, or like Special Dynamite maybe, was supposed to take place in the UK, but due to the global pandemic coronavirus that happened in 2020 and is still ongoing in 2021, it didn't happen. So I would be very curious to know, will we ever get a pay-per-view? Please, Tony Khan, give us a pay-per-view. Anyway, guys, those are just 10 questions I would love to ask the man himself, Tony Khan. Comment questions you'd love to ask him below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.